Welcome to the Kingdom Hairstylist podcast. This is your host, Billie Jean. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kingdom Hairstylist Podcast. This is your host. My name is Billie Jean. I'm so excited to be back on here. It feels like I have not put out an episode in so long. I hope and pray that you all are off to a great start this week. I hope that y'all are doing well. I pray that everybody is just in good health and, have a good mindset right now, and that everything is just going great in your life. And if you are enduring, like I talked about on the last episode, then be strong, my sister, be strong, my brother, and just get through this, because you will. I'm so glad to be back. I had a wonderful time at the Millions Conference, but this episode today, I hate to keep talking about all this spiritual warfare that I'm always talking about, but it just seems like that's the season I'm in. I titled this episode, Satan is Mad at Me. And I titled it that because he really is. He is a coward. He is just such a sucker. He is just so weak and just irritating. And he is so mad that I have decided to walk with God. He's just so upset that I chose God over him. And I watched this. One of my friends sent me a sermon by a lady named Stephanie Ike. I hope I'm saying her name right. But I will put the link to that in the show notes. But she sent me a sermon and it was titled Bring It On. And it was it just was at the most perfect moment that I could have received that sermon, because let me tell y'all, I mean, it was crazy trying to get to the Millions Conference. So I got a couple of things to catch y'all up on, because it's been a while. So the first things first is, you all know that I was going to the Millions Conference. I had talked about it on the last episode. It was a conference that was held in Tampa, Florida. And it was 3 days for me, because I signed up for VIP. So it was the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th of September. The whole time we were there, we were fasting, because we started fasting on September the 1st. So we did September the 1st through the 3rd. And so I was already just going through, because Satan just gets mad every time I fast. So he was real bad. He was like big mad. He was super mad. So before I even left to go to the conference, so many things just kept coming up against me. The first thing was, I was scheduled to leave. I think I left Wednesday morning. And before I could even leave, like, let's say maybe Saturday and Sunday, I was receiving messages from clients, and they were just like asking me questions like, because I book with this booking site called Style Seat, and it charges you an extra 20% if you choose to take a popular spot with the stylist. So people were like texting me, asking me, can they get the spot without paying the money? And another lady, she texted me and asked me, why was she being charged at 20%? But you have to agree to it. So it was just like a lot of warfare coming up against me. And I just thought that was crazy, that I'm going to a Millions Conference and people don't even think that I deserve an extra 20%, or they don't think I deserve an extra $10. And I'm just saying to myself, like, wow, like, this conference has to be good. It's about to be really, really good if I'm going up against all of this. So that was the first things first. But then Wednesday, on my way to the airport, I left out about 5 a.m. because my flight was 7:30, I think, or 7:50, somewhere around there. So I left out. And I had a certain amount of money in my account. No, it wasn't a whole lot of money, but it was enough for me to pay for my room, pay for my food while I was there. And I had already was very productive and paid for like my rental car before I got there, and just paid for one night stay. And I just wanted to get as much stuff done as possible. And then I also paid all of my bills before I left, because I don't believe in coming back to a whole bunch of mess. I don't like bills. I don't like the old people. I like to get that stuff done. And so on my way to the airport, 5 something in the morning, I'm just driving. So I get this message from the bank that I bank with, and they said, did I make a purchase of $687 in Kentucky? So I'm like, oh my goodness, come on. I'm just automatically thinking that I know somebody made a purchase from somewhere for that amount of money, and now I'm not going to be able to get the money back for a few days. So I'm like, this is not a good start. It's not a good start. So I just told myself, don't panic. I said, it's going to work out. God got this under control. You're going to this Millions Conference one way or the other. Even if you got to transfer some money from your savings, you'll do whatever it is you need to do to get through this, because you're not about to let this mess up your trip. So I keep driving, and then, of course I answered no on a little text message when they asked me that. And by the grace of God, they put the money back right away. So I got the money back before I even got to the airport. So, okay, great. Everything's going good, right? So I get to the airport, and I'm, going through the TSA and getting checked in. Meanwhile, I'm holding my license in my hand and my phone, and I try not to dress heavy when I get to the airport, so I had on sweatsuit, some Crocs, so I can just slide them off real quick, and a little hoodie. So I put everything in, and then I leave from out of that, once I get through, and I just go and sit down, and then now I'm getting on the flight. So I board the flight. I get to Tampa, to the airport. Beautiful airport. I loved it. It was really nice. But one thing that I noticed is that while I'm on a train to get to the rental car, nobody's really talking to nobody. Like, everybody's just kind of quiet. But I could see that some of the women that were coming there looked like, we were all going to the Millions Conference. And the only reason why I said that is because we have this joke, we call each other cousins in the group that we're in. And it's just like a whole bunch of black ladies. There's a couple of Caucasian ladies and Spanish ladies as well, but all of us were traveling from this area. So I was like, okay, I know they're probably going to the Millions Conference, but I didn't want to say anything. So because I'm still introverted sometimes, so I don't really know how to always spark up conversations. So I ended up getting off the train on the wrong side. So I got off on the wrong side, and then there was another lady that got off on the wrong side too. So we both kind of looked at each other, and we just bust out laughing. We was like, oh my goodness, they just let us get off on the wrong side, and nobody said anything. So, when you coming through those train stations and you have to put a ticket in to get through the gate. We had to run through to get, just to get through. So when we got on the escalator, she asked me, she said, are you here for the Millions Conference? I said, yeah, I'm going to the Millions Conference. So we hit it off. So we just were talking, and so she was going to get a rental car as well. So trust me, guys, I'm getting somewhere with this story. I know it's getting rather long, but I'm just trying to show you how busy the devil was and how good God was throughout the whole process. So we get to the rental car place, and I was renting from one place and she was renting from another place. So we exchanged Facebook information as we were walking and stuff, so we can keep in contact throughout the weekend. So I get to my place where I'm renting my car at, and I cannot find my ID. So I'm just so frustrated, because I'm like, I know I had it. I just had to get on the plane, through TSA with it. So then it dawned on me, you must have left it inside one of the bins when you were going through the gates. So I was like, oh my God. So of course I can't rent the car now without an ID. The guy at the counter told me, though, he said, usually they don't give any refunds. Now, mind you all, I spent about $440 on this rental car. So I'm really thinking like I'm not going to be able to get my money back, because it says no refunds all over the site. So he was like, I'm going to put some notes in here so that they can give you a refund, because you don't have your ID and they have to be able to work something out. So just give them a call and you'll be able to get a refund. So now, mind you all, I don't really have a whole lot of play around money, because I told y'all, I got to pay for all these things. So now I got to add an Uber in to the bill. So I go in the hallway and I just bust out crying. Because I'm just like, I cannot believe that I don't have an ID. How am I going to check into my hotel? How am I going to get back on the plane to come home? I'm just getting overwhelmed. I wasn't as calm as I was the first time when they took the money. But now I'm just going off. I'm just like, I can't believe it. So the young lady that I spoke about earlier, she saw me in the hallway crying. So she came out. She asked me, was I okay? I told her no. I told her what was going on. And she said, well, I can give you a ride to your hotel. So remember, I paid for one night stay already. So I knew that night was covered. I just don't know how I'm going to get into the room. So at first, being all prideful, that's one of the things that God is dealing with me about, is being prideful. So I told her no, I didn't need a ride. I'll figure it out. And so she said, okay. So she got in her car and then she sent me a message on Facebook and said, okay, this is my last offer. I really can take you to your hotel because I can't check in until 4:00 at mine. So now the place that I was going to, the first hotel, was not the hotel that the event was at. I had to pay for a separate night somewhere else because when I went to go book, it was already, those nights were already sold out. The first night was sold out. So she wasn't able to check in until 4 at the host hotel, but I was going to be able to check in early because I had already called the hotel. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to let her take me. So I'm like, all right. So I call her. I tell her that I'm ready and that I'll meet her down at the bottom. So I'm trying to find her, but the parking lot is so big. So a lady was so nice that works there. She helped me out. So we ended up finding her. So she takes me to the hotel. I get inside the hotel and the lady asks me, hi, how are you? How can I help you? So I'm like, I want to check into my room, but the only problem is I just lost my ID traveling here. So she says to me, well, do you have at least a picture of your ID? And I'm like, I don't think I have it. I know I don't have anything in my purse with the picture on it, but I might have something in my phone. So she was like, well, if you don't have anything, there's no way I can check you in. So I bust out crying again. I'm just like, I can't believe this trip is starting like this. Like, I'm really just trying to go be great. I'm really just trying to be a millionaire. I'm really just trying to learn how to build my business in the dark. I'm really just trying to live for God. And I just cannot believe so many things are coming up against me. So as I'm scrolling through my phone, I find an ID. Praise the Lord. The ID is on there because I had to send a picture when I was having my taxes prepared. Now, the only thing is I didn't realize that the picture of that ID was expired. So as soon as I gave it to her, she said, oh, it's expired. Let me see if the manager is going to accept it. So I'm over there praying like, manager, please just let me in this room. It's already paid for, please. So the manager looks at the picture and the manager says, girl, go ahead and check her in. As long as it's a picture of her ID, that's all we needed was to match the name of the person that's trying to check in. So I'm like, thank you, Lord. So I get in. And so now I go and let the lady know that's driving me around that I can check in early and that I'm going to go in here and try to call the airport to see if anybody turned in my ID. So that's what I did. I went upstairs into the room. I took a nice hot shower because I'm the type of person that I got to take a shower to think. So I got in the shower and I was in there just thinking and praying. And I was just praising God that no matter whatever turns out, whatever this ends up being, I know that it's going to be great. I know that you are going to make all things work together for my good. So I get out the shower. I call the airport, leave a message with them with my phone number and everything. And a lady calls me back and says that she's going to let me know if they find it, if anybody turns it in. So I'm like, great. So the young lady that drove me there, we said we would have dinner together. So now, we're getting ready to go have dinner. And I get a phone call from the airport that says they have my ID. So I'm like, okay, great. So I asked them, how will I be able to get back on the plane without the ID? So they told me a few items that I needed to have to be able to get on the plane, which was a debit card and some credit cards. I need to already have them out in my hand. And so that was awesome. So I get through that night and then she I catch it